I'm Syed Kamall, leader of the European Conservative Reformist Group, and here we are in London at the ECR Autumn University talking about a number of different areas to do with EU reform. I'm joined by Peter Van Dalen, who is the chairman of the ECR Policy Working Group on Religious Freedom. Peter, tell me about some of the issues that you covered in your session at the ECR Autumn University.
Well, first of all, we had a very well-attended meeting with a sad message, because what we heard from experts is that many people around the world are now fleeing, for instance, from ISIS area, but also in other countries like Afghanistan and Pakistan. And it is both Muslims and Christians and Ahmadis and Yazidis fleeing away for terror and violence. That's the sad news. The good news is that we must help those people. First of all, by strengthening the camps they are now in, for instance in Turkey and Lebanon, but also to help them here in Western Europe, to give them shelter, to integrate them in society and make sure they are safe. So we need to help them, and on the other hand, we need to make sure that they are safe here and they can escape the violence they are a victim of.
And we all want to help. When you see these pictures on the screens and when you see people being persecuted, we all want to help. But what can we do in concrete steps? What can we actually do to help them?
Well, one of the issues you discussed was about Pakistan. In Pakistan you have the so-called blasphemy laws. When you insult the Prophet Muhammad or the Quran, you might get a death sentence on that. And what we see in Pakistan, there's a lot of misuse of this blasphemy law. When you and I have a quarrel, you could accuse me of having said something wrong about the Prophet, then I could get a death sentence. So what we discussed is how can we change this law in Pakistan and make sure that it is not misused. And for that, the EU has a very strong item in its hands to change the situation in Pakistan. For we have the special trade agreement with Pakistan, which is linked to human rights. So what we want is to go on with this special trade relationship, but to make sure that they change in Pakistan this blasphemy law. That was our message in Pakistan, and fortunately the Supreme Court in Islamabad ruled such a statement just a week ago, and also a lot of entrepreneurs and lawyers had the same message. So we have a combination now of Europe, the Supreme Court, lawyers and young entrepreneurs in Pakistan who want to change the blasphemy laws. So we are now united to do something in Pakistan.
So clearly some of the work that the ECR Working Group is doing is having an impact, and with others in the European Parliament. Were there any other areas that you covered in your discussion today?
Well, this was the main issue. What can we do to help? And as I said, especially helping those who are now victims of the very grave situation, for instance, in the ISIS areas in Syria. Some people said we should have more dialogue with them, and while others said, well, a dialogue with ISIS is very difficult. So most of them agreed in our expert meeting that we should help those people to give them safe comfort here in Europe. That's the main message.
One of the strong messages that the ECR Group has given over the last few years is that we believe very strongly in religious freedom, and people should be free to worship their faith wherever they are, whatever their faith is, but also people of no faith should also be free to practice what they believe. And it's fascinating and it's very inspiring to see the work that the ECR Policy Group on Religious Freedom is doing, not only in the European Parliament, but the discussions that we had here at the Autumn University.